Hi, I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. This time out, Don Carr and I are checking out a new portable, compact, ultra-versatile amplifier from Mesa Boogie. Don, give us a quick listen.
Yeah, let's hear this thing.
That's awesome. That's a huge sounding amplifier.
Absolutely.
This is the Mesa Boogie Mark 525. It's a 25 watt all tube amplifier that's switchable down to 10 watts. It has 2 channels with 6 different sound modes and lots of great features for stage and studio. So Don, we're both Mesa Boogie guys. I started out back in the early mid 80s. I was using a Mark IIB actually, was my first Mesa Boogie. Where did you start with Boogies?
The Mark II C+, the next generation, you know, the last of the Mark IIs.
Right,
you know,
right.
with the pole boost stuff on it, you know.
All those different features that those had. Yeah. But you used a lot of different Mesa Boogies, so that you're on the road. And
absolutely. In the studio, tri-axis preamp. I had the quad preamp. I've got a transatlantic, the little guy, and I've got the Roadster, which I really love, man.
Right, right. So lots of different Boogies in your past.
Absolutely.
So what Mesa Boogie did is, with the Mark V amplifier, they kind of brought together the greatest hits of all those different eras of Mesa Boogies.
Right.
And now with the Mark 525, they've taken the best of those and shrunk it down into this tiny little cabinet at a manageable power level that's great for clubs, it's great for rehearsal, great for practicing in the bedroom.
Exactly. It's great for recording. You know, anytime you need a direct sound too, it's just, wow. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, very cool. So the way this is set up is we have a 2-channel amplifier here. Each channel has its own set of controls, so you can set it completely independently. We've got gain, treble, mid-range, bass, presence, and master for each channel. Then we also have a 5-band EQ, the classic Boogie 5-band EQ, and you can assign that to either or both channels.
Right, right. It's also foot switchable.
Foot switchable,
as well,
so you can bring it in and out.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the really cool tone features we have here is the mid-range control is unique on this amplifier, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's great, man. It's a cut and a boost at the same time. You know, turn it down, it's a cut. Turn it up, it's a boost, and really brings up the gain as well.
Right, and we'll demonstrate that in a little bit. Right. Around the back panel, we have a send and return effects loop, so you can hook up your reverbs, your delays in there. It's great for that. We also have a built-in cab clone. Now the cab clone is a direct output, lets you feed straight into a PA to your recorder. We're also running it straight into our camera, and we'll demonstrate that for you in a little bit later. And it has 2 different modes. It emulates speakers, so it'll emulate an open back cabinet or a closed back cabinet, so you have versatility even with that direct output.
Yeah, the really great thing is that it's a speaker load as well, so you can play without a speaker cabinet at all, or you can play with a speaker off, or you can play with a speaker on. So it really, the versatility is just through the roof of this thing, man.
And that's really cool because you can practice with headphones. There's a headphone out.
Right.
Or if you're like in a house of worship situation where you can't have a loud amp on the platform with you, you can plug this in without even a cabinet, run it direct into the mixer or comes through your in-ears.
Right. Direct recording, same thing.
Sure.
You know?
Sure. And again, practicing in an apartment, someplace where you can't be making a lot of noise, run it into your headphones. Really, really a cool feature of this amplifier. So let's take a tour of some of the sounds this amp can make. We've got 6 different modes to choose from. Tell us about the guitar you're playing.
I've got a PRS 513, and one of the reasons that I really like demoing with this is because it has single coils and humbuckers, and they both sound great, and it sounds really even all the way across the guitar, so you can get a real wide view of what something this versatile especially sounds like.
A versatile guitar that matches with a versatile amp.
Right.
We've got a single closed-back 1x12 cabinet, and that has a Celestion Vintage 30 in it. Now we've put a Shure SM57, so it's kind of the classic guitar recording chain as well. And we'll demonstrate the 6 different tones, and you can hear some of the gain differences as well as we're doing that. So let's start with channel 1, and channel 1 gives us 3 options for the cleaner sounds, and in fact the first sound is called clean.
Right.
So let me switch this up here to clean. We've got the gain, we'll set that to about 11 o'clock. We've added just a little bit of treble, a little bit of bass, a little presence, and we've dialed back the mids, and this is going to give us that sparkling clean tone.
Exactly, and I'm going to single coil mode on the bridge pickup.
Great. So without naming names, obviously that gives you that American California
blackface,
classic kind of
60s,
a clean, sparkling tone. Yeah, it really does do that. And it has a lot of dynamics. I could hear even as your pick is going across the strings, the definition and the way those really jump out of the speakers. Really cool.
Yeah,
really cool. So let's turn the gain up a little bit and hear what it sounds like when this starts to break up. One of the nice things is at 25 watts, we can crank that up, get some nice breakup, and even bring in a little bit of tube distortion, and it's not so loud that it's unmanageable.
Right. It's in a small club or any kind of recording situation where it's isolated. I mean, it's easily manageable.
Right. So I'm going to wind this to about 3 o'clock.
Okay, let's go.
Nice, that's a nice crunchy tone.
Yeah.
Has a chiminess to it because we are using EL84 power tubes here. So it's a little bit chimier tone, a little bit punchier in the mid-range that really dries well when you add a little bit of crunch on top
Oh
of it.
gosh, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
man.
right.
It's it's that nice mid push voice, that it's just great.
And speaking of mid-push, this is a good chance to demonstrate that mid-range control. So I'll push that all the way down. You can hear what it sounds like with the mids turned off. And it not only drops the mid-range level a little bit, it also brings back the gain a little bit. So it's actually cleaner than it was before. Now let me turn that up. Yeah, that really shows how much gain that mid-range control adds. So it really is a boost in addition to just being a tone shaping control. Now we'll switch to the second mode of channel 1. I'm going to put the mid-range back to where it was. It was at about 11 o'clock. We'll put our gain back to about 11 o'clock. Switch here to fat mode and hear what a difference that makes. We can really hear that lower mid-range come up. There's a little bit more bass there, a little bit more thump, a little bit more bottom, but it's that fat mid-range. It's aptly named
Exactly.
mode.
Yeah, and it kind of curtails the highs a little bit too. Not drastically, but just a just
Smooths it a little bit,
yeah,
rounds it out a little bit.
smooths it.
All right. Let's add some crunch there. Put it at 3 o'clock. That's a huge sound.
It is,
It
man.
really is huge.
Yeah.
But it's not too distorted, it's not fuzzy. Just gives you a nice crunchy breakup that really jumps out of the speaker.
Oh yeah, and it definitely huge. That's the only word I can come up with. Just
Yeah, it's filling the room.
Yeah.
All right. Dial it back to 11, and I'm going to put us down to the crunch channel.
all right, and I'll switch to humbucker mode here because this is a pretty gainy channel, which is again speaks more to the versatility of this amp.
Right. Nice. Now let's turn this up to 3 o'clock. That's plenty of gain for playing lead, classic rock kind of things. I mean, you can get a nice heavy rhythm tone out of it, but then you could jump to the lead sound. And in fact, I think with that one channel, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I do it on a single channel on the amp and ride the volume control. That's a perfect mode in this channel to do that
It
with.
is. It's so touch sensitive. I mean, just even okay, I got the volume at like 5 here. Dial it down a little more even.
That kind of covers it.
Yeah, that's it,
Full
man.
range right there. Very nice. Now we'll move to channel 2, which gives us 3 more modes, and these modes are based on classic boogie sounds. The first one is the Mark II C+, classic amplifier from the 80s. All right, so let's push that switch down. That puts us into this mode. Our gain's at about 11 o'clock. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to turn it up to 3 o'clock. What's so cool about those classic boogie tones is that you can add all that gain, and there's a ton of gain there, but it stays nice and tight. It doesn't get mushy. It really sings.
Yeah, it really does. There's something in the EQ, that really focuses the sound just right where it needs to be.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So if we push the switch down 1 notch, we go to a Mark IV. That's going to bring the gain up, and it's also going to reshape the tone just a little bit. So let's hear that.
Yeah.
A little bigger sound. You mentioned focusing the tone. That's focused a little more in that lower mid-range area.
Exactly.
Nice, big, fat
exactly.
sound.
Nice big push there. And a little ways up from that in the EQ spectrum, kind of a dip down.
Right, opens it up.
Yeah.
Let's turn it at 3 o'clock. Still nice and touch sensitive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really dynamic. And I think you probably got plenty of sustain there, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We were playing a little bit earlier, and even at this volume level, the guitar instantly jumps into feedback when you hit
Right,
that
right.
sustain point on it.
Yeah.
Even at a reasonable volume level, there's just so much sustain and gain there. To
Yeah,
bring it up.
absolutely. And the amp again is just really working just perfectly.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move to the final mode, the sixth mode, which is extreme mode. Now I'm going to turn the master volume down. This mode's a little bit louder. We'll bring the gain back to about 11. And let's hear what that sounds like. That's a big, heavy rhythm tone. It's really chunky.
Absolutely. Chunky is the right word, that's
Yeah.
for sure, man. Every time I'm digging the pick in, I can feel it just like spiking, it's biting, man.
Right.
It's nice.
Well, what I notice about this also is that even though it has that gain and it's a really chunky sound, it doesn't have a lot of compression. It's not getting mushy. The bottom end stays tight.
Right. Yeah, that's the other thing. That's why I wanted to play lower examples, especially with that sound, because that's the whole point. It really hangs together.
Right, right. With a name like Extreme, we've got to try the gain
Oh, yeah.
wicked up, right? So we'll put that at 3 o'clock. All right. Great, great. So with those 6 modes on the 2 channels, and with a foot switch, you can instantly switch between any 2 of those. So we can go from that extreme lead setting to, we could pop back here, say, to the crunch rhythm tone. Give us a little crunch rhythm there. And then instantly jump to lead using the foot switch. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
perfect, man.
And you can go beyond that because we still have that equalizer to dial in.
Right.
So if we go back to our extreme mode here, the first thing we can do is the classic scoop mid-range sound. So we've got our EQ set up to pull that down. If we turn the EQ on for that channel, as heavy as you want.
Yeah.
Right. Now you can foot switch that EQ, and you could also assign it to the other channel or to both channels. So you have a flexible routing as far as that's concerned.
Right. And the other thing you can do is you can crank all the levels up slightly and actually get a boost out of it.
Kind of a lead boost
Yeah,
kind of a thing if you want. Now in addition to all those great tones and the flexible tone shaping, we also have a lot of other features in this amp as well. And one of the big ones is that you can actually drop it from 25 watts down to 10 watts with those EL84 tubes. And that not only drops the volume down, but it also changes the tonal response a little bit.
Absolutely, man. I mean, you get less headroom, so it breaks up quicker, and especially the power section breaking up quicker. And as we know, that's a different sound than the preamp breaking up.
Yeah, let's show you what we mean with that. We'll go up here and let's go to the fat mode, which is mode 2.
Okay.
And here we're set at 25 watts. So give us a little bit of that. Right. Now I'll switch that down to 10 watts. Now that not only is dropping the volume down and making it very comfortable for here in the room or if you're in an apartment or bedroom or whatever,
absolutely.
but it also is changing the sound just a little bit. I think the bottom end is sloping off.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not as quite as round and full on the bottom end, and so consequently, as you drive the power section a little harder, it hang together even better.
Right, right. And it also sounds a little bit compressed to my ears. So it's starting to kind of pull
Right.
together just a little bit. Now this could be great if you're in a tiny space, you're going to a very small club and you need to play at very low volumes. You can still work the amplifier because we could bring the master up and not be at an unreasonable
Yeah.
volume
Right,
level.
right.
And you get that little bit of extra compression that'll help it sing, help it sustain at that lower level.
At
So-
the lower level, exactly.
yeah, so it's actually a very, very cool thing. So we have that. We also have independent reverb level control for each channel. So there are 2 knobs on the back panel. You can set that independently, and there's actually a little spring reverb in this.
Yeah, it's this
a
tiny
downsized-
little.
yeah, it sounds great. It
I
sounds-
know.
it's-
Somehow or another, they got it working.
It's a spring
man.
reverb,
Yeah,
right?
It's great,
Right.
man.
And one of the big things here is we have that cab clone, and that does let us do silent practice, silent feed into a PA, into a recorder, or even just take a mic feed out. If you've got your speaker set up and you're monitoring that on stage, but you don't want to put a microphone on the cabinet, you could use the cab clone to feed your PA.
Right. I tell you, one of the things I did touring was that I had a direct line and a mic line going at the same time, and if you align the phase with them, man, it really gives you a nice second option for mixing, and the direct sound was easier sometimes to bring up in a big hall. If it was
Right.
getting messy sounding, you could bring the direct sound up a little more, get a little more attack out of it.
Right, right. So the other nice thing about the cab clone is, as I mentioned before, it does have two different settings. There's a closed back setting and an open back setting. So let's go ahead and listen to what that sounds like. I'm going to set it on the closed back setting. That's with the switch up here.
Right.
Go ahead and play.
Okay.
Great. Now do the same thing, and let's set it for the open back setting. There really is a sonic difference there.
Absolutely.
You can hear that sort of flavor that an open back cabinet brings.
Absolutely.
And actually, it seems to have a little bit different punch, a little bit different sound.
Yeah, it's like the whole low end thing is completely different.
Yeah. So it really does change it. So it's a nice option to have. Sometimes you might like the open back, the closed back, but having that option to choose from is a very powerful thing. I hope you've enjoyed this look at Mesa Boogie's Mark 525 amplifier. On behalf of Don Carr and myself, thanks for joining us for Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. Be sure to tune in next time. We'll have more guitars, more amps, more effects, and we'll be making lots of music. I'm Mitch Gallagher. Don, play us out.
All right.